And here we are back with another episode of Bro Science. Welcome, Martin, Santiago, Severin.
Hey,
Um,
hey guys.
and we're just starting today off with a very casual conversation. I was just saying to the guys how I've lately given up the nectar that is coffee. Um, and I think the reason why that I've given up coffee is because I felt like I was relying on coffee as a source of energy.
But wait,
And
wait, wait, wait. Roll back. You said something about hating something, hating some
hating.
idea.
Oh yes, no. This is it. This is the idea.
Okay, what is the idea?
Goes back. Yeah, so I've been relying on coffee as a source of energy, and I really don't appreciate relying on things that are outside of me. For example, if I have to rely on someone else for their encouragement, um, although it's nice to be encouraged by other people, I feel like encouragement that's internal is strongest because can take you through anything. Likewise, not relying on coffee for your energy. If you have energy within, I think it's better. What do we reckon? I'm getting
Define
crickets out
better.
here.
Define better. I don't. Santi's writing an essay, but I'm hearing you.
Sorry, guys.
Are
Finishing my
you
shit.
writing an essay?
No,
Or
I don't know.
something. No, anyway. What do you mean by better though? When you say having internal energy is better, what do
I
you
just
have?
think it's more stable and long term. And I think, I don't know, actually, I s- with coffee particularly, I don't feel great. And I feel like I have worse sleep when it comes after I drink coffee, like especially towards the afternoon. And if I get a proper sleep, I actually don't really need coffee as much. So I think it's this like cycle, like have more coffee, you work harder, you fight the tiredness, and then you kind of like go through lulls through the day. So it's more like this, you're like, coffee, smash work, do well, and then you're like, it's winding off. No, I need another one, pick back up again. So you kind of create this like cycle. As much as coffee is probably not inherently bad for me, I don't think so. But I just think the whole fighting off tiredness thing through coffee is not great.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the main problem, that when you drink coffee, then like too much too often, you start being dependent on it, pretty much.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is not drink coffee often.
Mm.
I would only drink coffee days I actually think I need to be like 200%.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that way I literally, when I drink a cup of coffee, or 2 cups of coffee a day, I would be like like doing the machine and
Yeah.
everything. It's so nice. But the only way to achieve that is not drinking coffee too often, because when I do, that wears off, and
Mm.
I just start having the same results that you are, but like just
Yeah.
being tired all the time. But yeah, I don't know if it, I don't see the problem being that it's not an external source. For me, that's not the problem. For me, the problem is that the dependence, not only the dependency that it creates, but also the, like the, how do you say it? The
No, I think, yeah.
increasing, yeah, the increasing amount that you need to for it to be sustained.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like a in an in like an enjoyable slash energetic sense, it has like a diminishing value of return. Like the more you consume it, the less you get out of it. So you need more to get the same result. Which is interesting. Which is very interesting. What do you think, Santi?
Really just makes me shit so much, man. Um,
Really?
yeah, I don't know what it is about it, and I still drink it. I don't feel any sort of energy coming from coffee when I drink it.
Do you drink it often?
Yeah, every day.
Do
Mostly
you
Mm.
because of
feel
the taste.
do you feel different days that you don't?
No,
No?
no. I don't.
Okay.
I just drink it because of its flavor. I think it's delicious. I'm very into like, how do you say how do you say like amargo, bitter, like
Bitter.
bitter. I'm very into bitter flavors. So I like
Yeah,
bitter beers, bitter chocolate. Um, I love coffee, man. Uh, so I just do it for the flavor. I especially like my latte
yeah,
um, with
Do
whole
you would
milk.
you drink decaffeinated coffees?
Oh yeah, yeah. Although the same thing happens. Yeah, yeah, that's a placebo thing. Like I
gross.
feel like I like non-alcoholic beer. I mean, I like alcoholic beer more than non-alcoholic beer, and I like
Yeah, man.
like I don't even know what decaffeinated coffee tastes like tastes like, but I'm predisposed to think that caffeinated
It's not
coffee
as
would be
good,
better.
man. It's not as good. It's no.
But I
Bro,
don't know
someone
how
had
much
to
of that is
decaffeinate
actually
it.
true. I don't know how much of that is actually true.
Nah, it's false. It's completely false. I'm so
What's
busting it right
false?
now. Yeah. From my
What's
humble and true opinion, decaffeinated coffee tastes like your shit. Okay? It's just a fact. Even good decaffeinated coffee, it's you know what? It's actually really bitter. Sometimes more bitter. So sometimes you might even like it. You might be like, this is epic.
Yeah, but I
I
don't know
gotta
if
try
it's
it.
just that people just hate things that are not that don't have like the essence of the thing. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, it's true.
To
It's
yeah,
true.
I think most
what's
people
another
just
example
talk
of that?
about these things like what are other examples? Like
Tobacco or cigarettes, like, or vaping isn't the same as having a cigar, or I'm
I
You
mean,
know what? It's interesting. I've been reading a book on like emotional intelligence, and it talks a lot about like comparative value and anchoring. Or no, I think it's I think it's the term's called arbitrarial coherence, right?
okay.
And what people will often do is they'll often value something according to some arbitrary initial anchoring as opposed to the value something actually provides. So, for example, with coffee, I now value coffee for this idea called caffeine, right? There's no, and if it just doesn't have this caffeine, I'm not happy with it. But if I never had the caffeine coffee and I never, you know, realized that what constituted a coffee, and at first value I had a decaffeinated coffee, I might like it. And I might even say, if you put caffeine in it, you know, that's not good enough. So I think it is a part of like the psychological way of, being anchored in what you're used to and what you've had, that you probably devalue that next coffee. But for me personally, I genuinely dislike it. I mean, that kind of goes against my point. Maybe it's a bit of psychology.
But like, would you be willing to go on a blind test and get like three, like one good, bad, and medium decaffeinated coffee, and like one good, bad, and medium caffeinated coffee, and be able to tell the difference? Do you think
Yeah.
you would be able to?
Yeah, oh, yeah. But I used to work like for a
oh yeah,
roastery.
you're a barista, yeah,
So
barista, is
Okay,
like,
that
but
what it's called?
okay. I don't know about like individuals, but do you think that most people that say that decaffeinated coffee is bad would be able to? I highly doubt it. Doubt it.
nah,
I
no.
I highly doubt it.
Oh my god, bro! Most people have no idea. Like my dad,
Nah,
he loves Nespresso. Like he loves it. He gets the machine. I'm like, man, this is a shocking coffee. Like this is a shocker. You smell it, and nah, it doesn't smell good. Like it smells decent, doesn't taste great. If you go to a cafe and you smell it, it's like, oh my god, it just smells so different. Like,
but what would
oh,
Yeah.
like what would like a caveman that's never tasted coffee before say to you, like, if he's really enjoying? It's all a thing of perceptions. Um, you've developed like a taste for fine coffee, the same as what would like people that drink fine wine. They they lose the ability to enjoy just the regular sort of wine because they're already like always criticizing it.
Mm.
Um, so is it like a double edged sword? Like when you dive deep into like the flavor realm, because then you're like more sensitive to lesser quality coffee or foods and drinks.
Man, this is so fascinating
Yeah,
because
but
I
yeah, but
remember.
I don't think that's a double edged sword. I think it's just a simple edged sword because what happened to Chavi?
What? No,
he's
I'm just.
he's
I
really
love this. I agree.
What?
No, it's because I remember studying in Copenhagen. I studied this subject.
Bro,
Um,
I don't see you.
what?
Hello,
I see you, Chad.
That's why I said what happened to Chavi.
I'm
I
here,
see
man.
Chavi. I see Chavi.
Okay. Anyway,
See me, see me for what I am, please.
okay, I will love you for what you are and not for how you look.
Muchas
Um,
gracias, por
okay,
favor.
but the thing I was trying to say before with the blind test is I think most people are just blindly in love with ideas of things instead of the actual things, and they say they like or love or whatever about something, and it's not actually that. It's just like the conception they created themselves of that thing.
Mm.
um I remember once I was like at the work party, and a friend of mine, an Argentinian friend of mine, asked me to get a whiskey for him. So I mean, I was going
Yeah.
to get drinks for everyone, so I went and I asked each one of them what they wanted, and he said, "I want a whiskey, but only if it is a Johnny Walker." And I said, "Sure, man." Walked in the bar, and saw the whiskeys, and I said, I'm gonna do a test because he was like super critic, like super precise on just it could only be Johnny Walker whiskey. So
Yeah.
I said to the barman, hey man, what whiskeys do you have?" And he had a Johnny Walker, but he also had JB and another shit. I took one glass of JB and I took it back to my friend, and I said, "Here's your whiskey, Johnny Walker." And he said, "Thank you, man." And he drank it with like literally no issue, just like sip, 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 like JB on the rocks. No, like no issue. And he was so like he had so much problem if it wasn't a Johnny Walker. Then like a couple minutes later, I like stand up again and I say, "Okay, next round, Johnny Walker, Johnny Walker." Okay, I go to the bar and I get another glass of JB on the rocks. I give it to him, and he drinks it.
Fuck you, Chad Martin.
And later on the night, we were like, I don't know, dancing or whatever in the dance floor, and I was like, "Hey man, I need to tell you a secret. Do you remember those Johnny Walkers? They were actually not Johnny Walkers. They were JP." He was like, "No shit, I didn't notice," and whatever, whatever, whatever.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's my
I
thing.
wonder why he wanted just Johnny Walker. Like, I reckon someone told him down the line, everything else is shit, Johnny Walker's great or whatever, and he was just
I think that there could be
following
so
suit.
many reasons. Like maybe
Yeah.
the market, even from the marketing ads to who knows what. Um,
Yeah, I think people create images of things in their heads about things that are not true.
I wonder where we're doing that in our life and we don't know.
yeah, like I guess that could be extended to far more things than just food and drinks. But keeping in line with like the food and drinks, it got me thinking about Prime, the new like drink from Logan Paul and KSI. Have you seen all
Yeah,
the ad campaigns about that?
it's
How it's
crazy.
What?
exploded, and everyone's drinking
We
Prime.
have it here in Spain. Do you know how much they cost?
How much?
Do you know how much is a Gatorade? Like one
Like
euro,
two
€1 and a
euros, one
half.
euro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, €2 most. A little prime is like 3.5 euros. It's like,
and it's yeah,
and it's shit. Do you know more plates, more dates? The YouTuber.
no.
He's like an expert on like a lot of actually like bro science, like a lot about gym and steroids and supplements and all of this, and like also um how do you call the hydration drinks.
Creatine.
No, hydration drinks. Isotonic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, isotonic
yeah.
acids or whatever.
So he did like a 1 hour long like deep dive on the all the different components of Prime, and according to him it is shit. But
Hmm.
yeah.
oh, I thought, yeah, the way they advertise it is that it's like half the calories and just as good as taste. I don't know what the components are.
But the thing about isotonic beverages is that most people don't need them. Like most people don't need isotonic beverages. Like only like real athletes need isotonic
Well, yeah, my sister drinks
beverages.
isotonic beverages for study.
Yeah, but she doesn't need it.
No, she doesn't.
And
She's a
and
mental
and
athlete, man. What are you saying, bro?
for athletes, calories are not a problem really. So why would you sell an isotonic beverage that most people don't need the isotonic part as like I don't know. I
They
don't
just
understand.
fall in love with the idea of like being like some like sort of like having the image of a pro athlete while drinking the beverage, and also trust like KSI and Logan Paul made a
Wait, I'll
good
refresh
product.
because I want to see.
I'm coming back, man. Hey, Santi.
Yes, I see you, Charlie. Let's go.
Boom.
So that's another example. Well, the other example I can think of now, steering away from foods and drinks. Um, I really like the people that like would wear like the people that wear just a random green shirt with a brand of like Gucci or Versace. That's also like falling in love with the idea of you're also representing a social class, or but it's just a T-shirt. Would you put that
I,
in
I
the
don't even
same?
think it's social class in the case of like Gucci, Versace. I think it's just luxury, like luxury. Um, I don't think like high class people actually wear a lot of Gucci and Versace. I
Oh
think
yeah.
they're just expensive.
I think a lot of it depends. It really depends. But like some of the richest people don't wear that stuff because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when you're very wealthy, like you're not wealthy because you want Gucci and Versace. You're wealthy because you're a hard worker and you've got vision and all that kind of stuff. So you don't have like when you're like dreaming of like your like freaking company and whatever. You're not like, wow, I can't wait to buy Versace. Like what? If you look up Bill Gates, I don't think I've ever seen that bloke wear Versace. Never.
Yeah, I think those kind of things are more for like artists and like gangsters and drug dealers. All that those kind of like with like rich people do try to use those kind of things. Uh, so I think it's more of a cultural thing than a class thing.
Hmm. You know what I learned in India? You know what's fascinating? That you're born into your class and you can't actually escape that class that you're born into, no matter what you do. And everyone can tell by your name. So, like, if you're like of a certain name, that means you're in a certain level, and there's 5 levels of society. And if you're in that level, you can't go to the next level. Like, there's no movement. It's not like Western society where like you can go up and down if you work hard or if you do something. Nah, you are there, and that's just a crazy. I don't know. That blew my mind. Like, what
What do
an
you mean you
alternate.
can? What do you mean you cannot move? What kind of government do they have?
I don't know. It's to do with the government though. Like, if you're a government official and you were like way back, your uncle was a government or whatever, and so you are born into that category of person, and you can take up certain roles and jobs and do
Oh,
certain
really?
things. Yeah, I mean that's a very traditional part of India. India's a lot of India's moving out of that, and some people aren't even aware of this anymore in India. But there are some places and villages that are very like this. Like it's
Oh,
you are
Yeah,
lesser.
I,
You are
I was
genuinely
going.
lesser than me. You can't drink at the same water fountain than me. You can't. It's wild.
Wild. I was going to say that I work with with a lot of Indians, and I've never imagined that. Um,
Arsenal.
The- uh,
Mm.
what social class do you belong
No, that's
to?
not how I start the conversation.
Like,
Like my friend, his dad named him something completely random. Like his last name has nothing to do with them, or his name has nothing to do with the family, because in that sense, like the people can't tell who which class he's from. So he's classless.
classes.
Yeah.
hmm.
Anyways, sorry. What you said really sparked that.
um,
You never finished your point, Santi, about Gucci.
no, I was just thinking of other things where you like, if like, like enjoy the idea more than the actual thing, or have the, so like that's why I gave the clothing example. You know that this got me thinking, but it'll be like a total change of subject of an essay I saw. It's a
Alpha?
meme of an essay I saw. Like a meme about a kid that did an essay for a philosophy class on Mario,
Yeah.
and the essay was
No,
called
I like this.
Ma-
I like this essay.
Mario the idea versus Mario the man. And it's one of the funniest memes I've seen. Can I show you guys?
And what did it say, the essay?
No, it's funny
Here,
as I've seen it
have a
as
look for
well.
yourself. Have a look for yourself. Let me know if you can hear.
Okay. Oh, it is a
What
video.
do you
Okay.
what do you think it'll be about, Martin? Mario the idea versus Mario the man.
About no one caring about the actual man behind Mario.
Okay. Um. And
Like
what would
like that classical meme. Like everyone asks, "Can you do this? Can you do this?" But no one
oh
stops and
oh
asks, "How are you doing?"
this what if you had to do an essay about Mario the idea? What would you do it about? So like, what would you say? What's the idea?
The
And who's
idea is
Mario?
that he. Okay, just play it, man. I don't know.
Here, you'd never guess. Can you listen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's what?
Per chess. What the fuck does he say per chess? Oh, I love that video, man. Perchance. In what context would you use perchance, tell you? As a native English speaker.
Bro, I don't even know what perchance means. I looked it up in the dictionary. By some chance. I mean, that makes sense.
uh, oh,
Okay,
I
what?
find that video hilarious, man.
Oh, perchance is maybe. Per,
You can't just say
perchance or perhaps.
perchance.
Okay, but you showed us because you wanted to say something about the video.
What is there to say, man? Like, there's no point in that essay, but I just remember that video because we were talking about the idea, and it tries to explain like the idea versus Mario the man, and doesn't achieve it at all, or does it? Like, wh-
But he
he
didn't say
describes Mario.
anything.
He didn't say anything. He describes
He
Mario the
literally
man
just,
as saying, "Let's a go, keep it up, baby." What? That's Mario the man. But the idea is like he represents the privileged class because he can buy lives with money. Um, and it does say
what
something
was
kind of
written
interesting.
makes zero freaking sense. Like none.
It it does say something
It's,
interesting that I think came up when we were on our trip in Europe, where we like hold on, when we used to like pass through the different cities and the different streets, and we used to enter accidentally the patrimony, like what do you call that? The protected streets.
In Bologna?
Tell you, yeah, in Bologna and somewhere else. You got a fine even. I think.
a
Yeah, but in
fine.
Bilbao. No,
Yeah,
yeah, you were not with us.
Oh,
of a street we went through that was protected, and it was only for residents. And I don't know if I'm imagining this, but I think it came up like how that fine that you got is actually just a price to pay for someone that has the money, and like in that way, law is very different when people have different amounts of money. If they can pay the fine, and it's not like the law is not gonna stop them from doing it. So if someone did really want to cross that street and has the money to pay the fine, then it's like the law doesn't mean anything for them.
That's a good topic. I don't think
I can't
that's.
disagree with that though.
I think that that's true, but that doesn't mean that you you're willing to pay the price of something. That's it. You're willing to pay the price. In this case, the price is monetary, but it could be jail, and I could be willing, if I want to rob a bank, to go. If I'm willing to go to jail, I will pay that price, and I will rob the bank, and I'll be able
Oh yeah,
to rob the bank because I'm willing to
pay that
go to
price if
jail.
that's the case.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
So it
the
applies to
difference is
everyone. That's true.
it applies to everyone, but you could also argue that it and I would also agree that it's not the same price for someone that has $1,000 to pay for 100 that for someone that has $10,000 or $100,000 or whatever amount. It's not, is it also is kind of not the same price. It's like if you give a 1 year sentence to a 17-year-old or a 1 year sentence to a 66 years old, or a or yeah, I think it's relative. It relatives to what you already have. But what are you gonna do? Are you gonna change time sentences based on how old people are? Are you gonna change price price fines based on how much money people have?
Actually, that sounds really reasonable, and I'd imagine that there's a lot of reasons why they don't do that. Maybe it's very hard to apply properly, but it does sound very reasonable that the price of someone's minute or the price of someone's year should tend to drop in time. So, like, if a person has, on average, less than 5 years left to live, then a prison sentence of 80 years doesn't mean the same for them as someone that's 18. So, if you think about it logically, then it should be different for depending on the person.
I
But I
don't
don't
think
know,
this
man.
works.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, and I'd imagine that this conversation's been had 1,000 times before. But it
But you
does
don't
make
need to be a
sense in
lawyer.
principle. It does make sense in principle.
It doesn't because
That doesn't make sense to me.
okay, first of all, it's too complex to implement. How are you gonna say how much is the total to compare against? Like, is
Yeah, it's very
someone that is
difficult.
22 years old but have a cancer comparable to a 80 years old or to another 20 years old or to a 40 years old? How do you calculate that?
No,
And
but
then
what
what
I'm
if the
saying,
cancer is not
I,
terminal or I don't
I'm
know.
not questioning the how hard it is to implement. I'm just saying that it makes sense for a pun. If you want to punish a person with the same degree of severity, then it makes sense to like proportionally give them different sentences. Like if you give life sentence to someone that has a year left to live, it won't mean anything to them, and it's not an actual punishment for them.
And
But that's the
what would you
purpose
do
of
then?
law. The purpose of law is to punish that person so they repent and they don't do it again. Oh, that's another thing. How will they do it if they'll never come out and they have a year left to live?
Look, man, I don't know. Like, I just, I kind of don't agree with the more tailored approach, especially with fines. I think, I think loss, like psychologically, the way people think about loss is very different to like what you have. Like, for example, like if let's say someone very rich gets a fine, they're not going to be happy about it. They're going to be annoying just because they lost. The amount actually doesn't, you know, like even though they might say, yeah, that's fine, whatever, still to be something inside of them. Oh, like I missed it by a minute. I missed it by 3 minutes. I don't need this fine. Like I'm paying nothing. Like if
Yeah.
anything, very rich people are probably more inclined to think about how they could have avoided it and what they could have done and all that kind of stuff. People that are probably less wealthy are like, man, I just whatever. Like I don't care. I'm fucking poor anyways. Like maybe, but like I'm just showing the other side of that coin. I don't think it. I don't think just saying hey you're more wealthy or hey you're closer to death or whatever means you should taper off a fine or something. It's too much effort for not enough gain. You know, because you have to look at the content of someone's character to understand what decentivizes and incentivizes them,
That's
as
true.
opposed to those factors. You know, so yeah, and that's
It'd be fun to
impossible
have a
for
law
lawyers
student.
to use. Huh?
It'd be cool to have a law student.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think you need a law student, man. I think this is very much philosophy.
no, I
Um,
Yeah,
think you need, I think law students are much more prepared for this conversation.
but I
Yeah,
think
no.
like
lawyers are there to enforce what has been agreed, nor not necessarily. I mean, they could of course have a great vision of this, but I don't think you need a
Mm.
lawyer to have this conversation because I don't
of
think
course you.
it's a loss issue.
I don't think it's like only a law issue, but they have so many courses on ethics and why laws are built that way,
Yeah,
and they're very knowledgeable on the philosophy of the laws. So all I'm saying is it'd be fun to have their perspective on the issue.
do you guys know any lawyers?
Yeah, I'll have it. I'll have him on for next week.
Yeah, I've got law. I've got mates studying law as well.
We can
Yeah.
have them both and compare Australian lawyers against Chilean lawyers.
Now he's Mexican.
A Mexican,
Yeah,
but is he in Chile?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's in nothing.
But yeah, it is true. Like what Terry says is also true. Like sometimes, even if I have the money, even if I could not care, but I do, but I could not care about like spending a little bit more or a little bit less. I find myself worrying about saving every euro, like every cent,
Mate,
and
it's
being
behavioral economics and behavioral finance 101. Again, what I was saying before, like a lot of the time, because of your what was it called? It's arbitrary coherence, right? That's the term. Let's say when you go and buy, I don't know, a can of tuna, you'll often spend time making a decision between two cans of tuna because that's how people think. You need to decide between the alternatives, and mostly you probably consider two to three maximum, right, at a time, maybe four. And you go through those alternatives and you're like, oh, this one's nicer, this one's a little less expensive, and you end up spending maybe a minute comparing tuna. But like, is it even worth it? Like, you're saving literally 10 cents. Like, just spend it. Like, it doesn't, in the context of your wealth, it actually doesn't matter. Be like, oh no, like it's savings. Like that one's cheaper. And that's the mind actually works like that. Like you'll probably buy a cheaper can of tuna for 10 cents. It makes no sense. Like it doesn't, who cares? But
yeah, it's so funny. I would
with a
sometimes find myself like trying to save a couple bucks at the supermarket, but then I would go and spend 40 euros, 50 euros on a night out. Like it's
you'll easily justify money on drinks. Or like the good example is let's say you bought a car and there was an add-on of like, I don't know, $300 to get this extra. And quickly you can be like, oh yeah, I buy this whole car, yeah, justify it, bang. I want the extra. I want good. Quickly you just man, $300 added on and you
Yeah,
justify it in the context of what you're spending. You
I bought a I
justify.
bought I bought a bike, the bike I told you guys about a while ago,
Yeah,
and I paid like what for like $400 on the bike, and
yeah,
then I'm usually very like hesitant for like to buy things and spend money. I like to save up. Um, but as soon as I bought the bike, I got a bunch of offers on different bike. It was it was Cyber Monday. I got a lot of offers like to include
mm,
with the bike in the cart, and I spent another $100 just on like clothing and things like that,
yeah.
just because they're there, and I'm like piggybacking um, on that purchase. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. If you didn't buy that bike, or maybe you already had a bike,
Yeah.
would you spend that extra hundred
No.
dollars? Probably not.
No.
But in the context of the purchase, that's okay because you're already spending a lot of money, and
Yep.
that's
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
guess that
like,
goes like,
we think
what's that?
logarithmically.
Yeah, what's that? What's I wonder what that line of like a study is called. Like, I imagine marketing has a whole lot to do with that.
no, this is
Consumer
behavioral finance.
psychology, yeah,
This is
or behavioral marketing. Is that a thing?
yeah, it can be marketing as well. I mean,
Yeah,
on
but
the
it can
other
also be
thing, on the
finance.
other
Yeah,
side is the
Yeah, psychology.
yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, there's one side which is behavioral economical finance, which is me, the person purchasing, my thoughts, how we react to certain financial scenarios. But then there's the sales and business side when they're trying to
yep,
get into that. I guess that's the behavioral marketing. How am I going to market my product to maximize like sales in a
yeah,
psychological sense, which is really interesting, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, in the context of your business, if you flip this around, then you always need options. You always need it. Like if you're only selling one product or one version of something, you're silly because you're not giving people a chance to value your product. People create values of comparison as opposed to just singular value. So like I would find it incredibly difficult to go outside and value that tree. But if I went outside and I saw a tree, a big one next to a small one, I would probably say, "Hey, the big tree's worth more." Like because the comparison gives me value, you know, and that's how you work. Like often you'll see people and you'll value someone off to. So what the book was saying was so interesting. It's like if you're trying to like date or go out or pick up someone, you should probably take a friend that's slightly less attractive than you. Because psychologically, if you take someone that's slightly less attractive to you, people will make quick judgments of you and think that you're more attractive. If you bring another, and it has to be someone that looks kind of like you as well. So if you bring someone that's, again, a little bit more attractive than you, looks kind of like you, people are going to think, okay, this is the nice version. We value this one, And it's so interesting. It's just fascinating how the
I've
mind
always
works.
loved that, like the how much contrast and differences actually make us understand the world.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
mm.
and it's funny because it and going back to the falling in love with just ideas thing. Sometimes you might value something more that's actually less less good, or that's actually worse, just because you're subject to think they're better because of their looks, or their yeah. So like if you like you said, if you would put two people side by side and interview them one after the other, but then and hire the better looking one, that might have played a factor in why you hired them, when in fact the other one might have been a better worker in the long term.
It's actually
Uh,
pretty well studied that people
I think you know a
think
lot about
that
this.
better looking people are more competent than less.
I think you
Like,
studied this and read a book about this, Martin. Am I right?
yes, there's a
And I
book
think we already
called,
talked about this in a podcast episode.
oh, did we?
I think so.
Okay. My
Well,
question
anyway,
is it statistically true? Which would be my question.
I think that's
Like,
yeah.
what the book's about.
no, as in like, are better looking people more competent on average?
Not apparently.
Oh, um, that's a good question. I don't think so. But there's also like
What are you
correlations
saying then?
between
I'm not
on
good
how
looking, or I'm not competent. What are you trying to say to me, huh?
you're not any, bro.
Oh wow, wow, neither. Thanks.
Get in your bugs. Let's make a graph.
Oh,
Let's make a graph, like the competency axis and the looks axis,
Okay.
and then
and what are the
let's.
chances you fall in the full competent, full good looking quadrant?
Well, you'd have to
But
have a scale to compare against what we talked about. So we could have like the hottest looking guy over at the top, and then
there's also an inverse thing that's interesting that I've seen myself reacting to, and it seems like I would find someone somewhat attractive, let's say, and then I would listen to them and they would say something maybe not that smart or just stupid or whatever. And over time, I would like start seeing them as a little bit less attractive. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
oh
don't know if it is just me or
yeah,
Yeah, I've had that before.
yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah.
So intelligence plays a role in finding someone attractive.
I think the more you get to know people, yes, and then it's the other way around at first glance. The better looking, the more smart you think they are.
Hmm.
Or maybe it depends what kind of context. Like, yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think that for me. Like,
Okay,
I
let's
don't
do the
think
graph.
someone's smarter based
Yeah.
on
While you
how
do
they
the
look.
graph, I want to tell you guys, like for example, my dad, I think really brushes off. I'm not saying he's a bad looking guy. I think he's. I'm not even gonna get into that, but like he he doesn't like that aspect of society. We've talked about this, so he doesn't like isn't in like isn't updated on fashion and doesn't buy clothes often, and it's just very humble in that sense. Um, he doesn't really care about looks when judging people and when expects to be judged.
Yeah.
So I guess that's an approach someone could take if they don't agree with like society should be that way. I mean, I don't know how good it will play for them in the long run, but um, some people might recognize that it's not fair to judge someone by their looks. Or
Yeah, I think some people fall out of this judgment method, but I
I,
think for the majority, most people think like this, even subconsciously.
yeah,
So
and I think that's the problem. I agree with what your dad thinks, but I think if you live like that, you're probably gonna get frustrated a lot because your
yeah,
desires of society are not going to be met most of the time.
yeah, and
yeah,
like yeah. I guess that happens. Like just an extreme example, if you like wearing trash bags for clothes, then you probably won't get hired because there's
yeah.
society expects things from you, like set standards that you need to comply with if you want to be part of it.
It's kind of a challenge. Like try and get a job and wear trash bags. Like,
Well, that'd be
do you
cool,
reckon
man.
someone can
Yeah.
do that? Like, get a
Imagine.
job wearing trash bags?
Is that a challenge?
So, I reckon you should go to your next job interview with trash bags on and just try it. They'll be like, "Why did you rock up like this?" Be like, "I'm different. Have you ever seen someone do this? I think
I
outside
can
the box.
imagine working
Maybe,
that. I can imagine that working out at like a startup,
yeah."
maybe. But you have to come across
I,
like,
if I started up a company and a guy came wearing fucking trash bags, I'd be so concerned for his health. Fuck.
yeah.
Like, bro,
Let's have a
Martin, what are you
chat.
thinking, man?
To do the graph? Oh, did you
Yeah.
do the graph? We could wait. I have an idea. So like here, uh, I have another video to show you guys. Ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
Ready? Shit.
I know this video as
No,
well. So
this is from How I Met Your Mother. This is
Yeah.
a copy from How I Met Your Mother.
nah, I think how I copied this, man.
No.
Oh, look! How Much Your Mother.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
the
time
Vicky
and the
Mendoza
mother version.
diagonal. The
Here, but
Vicky
let's watch
Mendoza
this one.
diagonal.
Okay, so
He
this is the
explains it really
universal
well.
hot go
No,
zone.
that's
You
the
don't
Vicky
go
Mendoza
here.
diagonal.
My thin man. Oh, I really wanted to show you guys the one that's animated. Yeah, no, it's not the one I watched. Should we watch the? Let's just watch this one.
Okay, she's not crazy. Now, let me illustrate. That line, she's calm.
Right. So that would be the Vicky Mendoza
Oh
diagonal.
man, that's just bro. You actually get cancelled for watching that shit. Oh, that's so cancellations.
You can't?
What?
You
No.
can't support that?
Um, I'm actually trying to think if I agree with it in like premise.
I don't think I
Like,
do.
I don't think I
does
do.
yeah? No, I don't. So
I think the drawing it is different, but that's it.
it's not saying the graph's not saying the hotter you are, the crazier you are. That's not what the graph's saying. The graph is saying there's an allowable amount of hotness or an allowable amount of craziness per unit of hotness. That is what the graph's saying. So
And
you
with
can't
that,
be
I
saying
agree.
it's not saying it's not saying girls will fall into these categories. It's saying I will only allow this amount of crazy in my subjective view of women if they are
As
this
long
amount of
as
hot. That's what the graph's saying. Do you agree with that? Is the question.
I agree with that.
For me, nah, man. There's like I
for
reckon
me, it
for
makes
me
no
it's different.
sense. For me, it makes no
I
sense. For me,
reckon
it's different.
there's a level of crazy that like I don't care how good looking you are, it's
Yeah.
annoying.
No, yeah, yeah, of course.
You know. So for me,
I think that the diagonal has a little bit less slope, so you're not allowed to be that much crazy, even if you're hot.
I mean, my graph would kind of look different. But I don't know. Crazy is just like a wild scale because what you mean is like
Wait,
the hotter you get, the more you will accept. But like you would then accept zero hotness for zero crazy. That's what it was saying. So like, but like, I mean, subjectively, there would be some girls where like I'm just not attracted to, so I'm just not going to go there, no matter how crazy or non-crazy you are.
okay, okay. This would be my graph. I think um it would go something like this, right? But then at some point of crazy, it would just stop. So this would be my go zone. This would be the area, and then crazy could keep going, and I don't care if hotness keeps going. I'm not passing there. That would be the dating area.
Yeah, now my graph would be different. My like, say you'd start somewhere halfway in the hotline or
Oh
middle,
yeah, you're
and then
right.
it would
You're right. You're right. This should start a little bit like here, and then taka taka
because it
taka
can't
taka.
start at zero. Like you can't get negative looking. Like that's not even doesn't even make sense.
Oh yeah, and then for I think for the and competent, smart and competent, that's stupid. Uh,
This is not enough scales. The reason why I think the reason why I don't like the crazy scale is because it's so like I don't know. It's so whatchamacallit is it derogatory is a word? Like it just maybe you should like the smart scale or like something a little bit more, you know. Anyways.
anyways, I think this would be the chart of hot and competence. So I think people usually think that super. Wait, how I need to think about this.
No, you have to start off the axis. You have to start off the axis. It'll be different now. You'd start at like
Okay,
the top
so
of the y-axis and it would go down.
no, yeah, yeah. I think super hot people are usually not that competent. I
No, no,
usually
Yeah.
no.
think of not
But
that competent.
so it's not the
Super
same
hot
logic
people.
as the. Okay, so you would
I
off.
think they're
Oh,
not. But then on the middle, I think from there's a point in the middle, and from there it grows. I think from there people think they're. I'm getting so confused. People think they're competent.
wait, what's the graph
What
about?
are you talking about, bro?
Is it how
What are you on
confident
about?
they think they are, or how you see them?
I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I
What are
don't
you
know anymore.
What?
I don't
Is
want
this
to
about
draw.
us? I'm so confused, bro.
I thought
wanna
it was
draw.
gonna be about us.
I don't want to draw.
I thought it was about us.
I don't want to draw anymore.
Okay, that was epic discussions. Most productive
Perchance.
podcast we had.
Perchance.
Perchance.
Pretend.
Stump turdies. Perchance.
Sounds
Okay.
Let's
smart.
go. Keep it up, baby.
Yeah, where did Keep It Up Baby come from? I've never heard Marvel Keep It Up Baby.
I've never heard that.
Oh,
Okay.
Anyways, it has been a pleasure,
Yep.
and I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, we get some lawyers, and we can talk
Oh, yeah.
about laws and why they are the way they are.
Yep.
nice.
Yep.
Right, guys.
Awesome.
Goodbye, boys.